So in this second part of this whole tutorial series, we're going to start doing our front end using React and Tailwind to style our application. And then we're going to use React Router to route between different pages. And then we're going to start adding Redux to do our state management. So starting off, I'll come back to my server where we have the server, and on the parent of that file, I'm going to call npx create React app, and I'll call this client. Once I have this installed, I'm going to go into the client folder, and in here we're going to install the React Router DOM, which is npm install React-Router-DOM. So on this file we have the DOM installed. That's great. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over our Tailwind CSS for our styling. This shows how we are going to install it. So I already have this installed globally. Right now, all I have to do is do the init for our Tailwind app. Once we have that Tailwind, I'm going to bring in over our content. So content basically is telling Tailwind to go into this folder, and everything you see in here, HTML or JS or JSX, you're going to be using Tailwind into that part of the file. So that's done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to our index CSS. We don't need to do anything in here, but the app.js, we need to bring in our Tailwind directive, which is right here. So I'm going to bring that over. I'm going to delete everything and just bring in the Tailwind directive right there. So once that covered, I'm going to start the server or start the client React app. So we have that done. We deleted all the app obviously, so it's a different color. So in here, let's bring in the Tailwind and see if it's working as expected. So let's come back to the Tailwind and bring in our h1 into the app. Delete all the headers, get the h1, delete that, and see if it's working. Looks like we have it working. If we get rid of the underline here, we got rid of the underline. If we make it 2x, it becomes 2x. So our Tailwind is working fine. So we have that covered. Next, we are going to be implementing React Router DOM. Now, this is the latest version, which is 6.6. If any of you have used React Router DOM before, version 5, it was a little different. They changed a lot on the newer version. So in this, we are going to be using a lot of the new features, which is create browser router, kind of put everything in one place. And it's very easy to kind of implement. So let's start off with our route on the home page. So in our app, we are going to be bringing in a couple of stuff from React Router DOM, and it's going to be create browser router provider and outlet. So all of these are coming from React Router DOM. After that, we are going to do is we're going to create a layout. So a layout is basically a theme, almost like a theme, where you have the navbar. We want to have the navbar in all our pages. So we want to have a layout that returns that navbar that we want to have in every pages. Here, I would say, let's say in here, h1 navbar. And after the navbar, we are going to bring in the outlet. So outlet is basically every file. So if you have a home page, the home page will appear over here, and the navbar will stay on all the pages. If we have a login page, the login page will come in the outlet, and the navbar will also stay on that login page as well. So that's kind of what outlet is for. It kind of like swap all the route and place in with different pages. So that's out of the way. We're going to replace this with a navbar once we build the component for the navbar here. But for now, we're going to start creating the routers. So const router is equal to create browser route. And in here, I'm going to create an array. each array will have a path. This one, let's say, is going to be a home page. And then for the element, we want to pass in the layout. And for error, we're gonna have an error element later, so we're gonna create a file called error to handle our error. If it returns a 404 page, we're gonna show them that error page. We're gonna do that in a little bit once we create the error page. And for the children, we're gonna have a couple of children for our home page, home route, and this is gonna be an array. So the first part is going to be same thing, path. This one going to be the home path. So the home path is going to come in here, and for the element, we are going to call it home. Now for the home, we're gonna give them a home page. So why don't we create a folder called page here, and inside that we'll create another called home, and in that home we're gonna call home.csx, and that's a home page. So this is exactly that. So we're going to bring that in again. So that's from the home page. So we have that. Whenever we go to this route, we're gonna show them the home. Let's bring that over here as well. Delete this and create router provider. And in here, we're gonna create our router. We're gonna pass in the router we just created. So router. Now let's go back to our app. Once we go to our home page, you can see it hit our home path, and then it goes to the children and say, oh, this is the path we want to go to. So we're gonna show you the home page. So it's showing me the home, which is the home is coming from right here. So that's basics of our routing. We're gonna do a couple of routes like this. So let's create another file called profile on the page. We're gonna create a folder called profile. And here we're gonna call a file called profile.csx. I have that profile in there as well. And on the app, we're gonna do is we're gonna create another object, and the path for this is going to be profile. Then we're gonna go to a different ID, and when we go there, we're going to show them the profile page. So that's we're going to import that as well, profile. So we have that imported. So once we go there, so we go to profile, let's say profile of Harry Potter. It's going to go to the profile page. And of course, we're going to have an ID. Like on the back end, we have an ID. Once we hit that ID, we're going to bring in all the information from the specific user using the get, and we're going to display them over here for their profile. So that's the kind of the breakthrough of how we're going to do that. The next we are going to do is we're going to do the explore. So let's create another page called explore page. We have the explore down, and then same thing here again. Path this time is going to be explore, and then we're going to do is element. We're going to bring in the explore element, explore, and of course we want to do here and oops, we're going to change that to explore. So that should work. So if we go to explore now, it should go to that explore page right here. So that's done as well. Let's do the sign in after that. So I'm gonna copy that, and this one I'll do is sign in. And in here we're gonna do same thing as well. We're gonna do is sign out. So when we do the sign out, we want to go to the sign in page as well, back to our login page, which is a sign in page. So I'll create a page called sign in, and here we're going to create a SignIn CSS. And there we go. And there we are going to bring in that sign-in page. Okay. That's out of the way. And we're going to create that again over here. So when we go to the sign in, we're going to go to the sign in page. When we go to the sign out, we are going to go back to the sign in page, which is going to be basically a form with our input and our usual logging form right there. So that's our basic routing. We have that covered pretty much on our app. Next thing we're going to do is let's create the navbar first and start doing our Tailwind as well. So for this, we want to have kind of like a width. So let's do a class in here. If we are on the medium, we're going to have a width of 8 by 12. It's a Tailwind width. If we go to here on the Tailwind and then type in width, you can find a section. So it's going to be 8 by 12, which is basically 66%. So we want to have spaces on left and right, and everything going to be in the middle. So that's the width, and then MX will be auto, so everything will be pushed a little bit. You can see it's a little bit there. I mean, we have our space here, we have space here, everything going to be in the middle. That's how we want our app to be. And in here, let's type in bringing our navbar component. So for the navbar component, we're going to create a file called component. And here we're going to create a file called navbar. And in here we're going to have something on navbar GSX. Let's create a navbar component, and in here we're going to bring that in. So bar. There we have it. So we have a navbar component going on there. Let's go back to the navbar and start styling it as we want. So in here we are going to be doing a couple of styling for our logo. So we want to have a logo on the left side, and then middle part a little spacious on the middle part, and the right part we're gonna have the input search thing going on. So here we're going to do is we're gonna do a grid. So grid column 1 for our mobile devices, and if it goes to medium devices, we're gonna do column of 4. Why 4? Because we want to have 1 for the left sidebar, 1 for the right sidebar, and for the middle part we want 2. So 1, 1, and then 2, because we want the middle part to be a little bigger. So that's why I'm doing the 4 in here. And then my of, let's say, 5, and justify sender. So that's our grid system. And then we're gonna have our first div here with mx, let's say auto. MD mx will be 0. That means on the mobile device we want it to be a little auto, and medium we want to have 0 mx on that. So that's out of the way. We want to have an image, and this is going to be our logos, which I'm going to be pasting it in here. So I have a Twitter logo from Google, Twitter PNG. So that's a PNG file. You can find it on my GitHub link down below. If not, you can like Google a Twitter logo and download it. So that's there, and I'm going to bring that in our navbar in here. But the logo I'm going to do is Twitter logo.png, name of the file, and then let's call it Twitter logo in here. We want a width of, let's say, 40 pixel, and we also want to have some class as well. The Tailwind margin left of 8, so a little bit of margin there. So that's the Twitter logo out of the way. Next we want to do is the middle part here, which is going to be 2 column. So the logo part is done. Next we're going to do is div here with a class of call span, let's say 2. So it's going to span to 2 column instead of 1 on the regular. And since we had like 4, we can use 2 for this, and 1 will be used for that logo. The other one will be used for the search bar. So that's the grid. We're gonna have some border as well. Border x of 2, MD border slate of 200, MD pixel of, let's say, padding X of 5 or of 6. And then we're gonna have some margin top bottom of 6 as well. And MD margin Y is equal to 0. So we have that for our middle part. You can see there's some border in here with a slate of 200. And then we are going to bring in some flex box for our design. So I'm going to create a flex, justify between, and then items center. So we have that. And then let's do h2. Let's say home here. We also want to add some styling on that. So font of bold and text of 2XL. So we have a home in the middle. That's there. That's working out great, I think. And once that out of the way, we are going to be doing our next bit, which is search bar. So in here we can do is div, and then we're gonna have a class fix padding x is equal to 0. For MD, we want to have some padding on the larger devices, and then MX, let's say auto on that. And here we're gonna have a logo. Here, let's say logo here, search logo. You're gonna bring that in shortly. And then here we're gonna do input in here for sure. So text, we're gonna add some styling on the input. So BG blue of 100, so which is a background blue 100, rounded full. So there's like a border radius. Pixel padding Y is equal to 2, padding X is equal to 8. So that's what it looks like. And in here we're going to bring in some logo. So we need to install metal icon, which have a lot of logos. So MUI icons. So we're gonna install that metal icon, and they have a lot of logo that we can bring in into our project. So for that installation, we need to install this. So I'm gonna install that on our project. I'll go make sure I'm in the client again, and I'll npm install that. So once we have that, let's bring in a logo from one of their call it search icon from at MUI icon / search, and then let's put that into our search logo right here. So there, once we have that, I'm gonna go to class names. You go to absolute m of 2. So absolute basically going to go inside the input, and we are using some margin of 2 in there as well. So inside, because of the absolute, it goes to the parent element and is situated in that. So it's going into the input right here. So we have that input going on. That's good. We're also going to bring a star logo here. So let's bring that in from import star border purple 500 icon 500, not the sharp one, we want the icon and this is coming from star border purple 500. So if you're not familiar with this icons, you can find it on here one more time. You can like type in star, it's gonna show us all the icon that we can use, and once you click on this, you will be able to copy those exact thing. So copy that and then like paste it in here to use it. So that's out of the way. Let's go back to our h2, and after the h2 we're gonna bring in that icon as well, search icon, and I'll add some styling. For the styling, I'll do, we don't need any styling on that. It's not gonna be search icon, it's gonna be this icon, so star border icon. So we have that. That's our navbar. So the Twitter navbar coming in great. I think we have the navbar done. So after the navbar, we're going to go into the home page. So in our home page, we have a couple of things. We have the left sidebar, right sidebar, and we have the middle part, which is where the main tweet is going to live. So let's start coding those. So on the first, let's do the left sidebar first. It's going to be a component, and in the file, we're going to name it left sidebar, the same name of a file as well, JSX. So we have a left sidebar, and what we are going to be doing on the left sidebar, we're going to have a couple of icons, and we're going to have some navigation in here. So we are going to be bringing in some icon. So let's bring in our home icon from at MUI slash icons material slash home. This one is going to be a tag icon, and the last one is going to be a person icon. So we have those icons in place. Next, we are going to be doing is add some classes in here, and we're going to use some flex for this. This is the left sidebars. We don't have to use grid. We can just do a flex. And here we're going to do a flex of column, and then height is going to be full. MD, we want height a little bit smaller on the MD, so we're going to do is 90 VH for our MD, and then justify between, and after that margin right of 6. So once we have that, we're going to do is create the div, and in here we're going to do is a margin top, let's say a 6. We're going to do a flex as well, because we have two things in this. We're going to have an icon, we're going to have a letter as well. So flex column, flex column, and then space of y of 4, and inside there we're gonna pull a link, which is coming from the React router DOM. So import link from React router DOM, and we are using that over here. So this one is going to be to our home page, and in here in the link we're gonna do another div, and in here we're going to do is flex items center, and then space of x of 6, and then padding of 2, padding y of 2. We're gonna also use a hover effect on this. So hover, we're gonna change the background color a little bit to 200. Rounded will be full, and cursor going to be pointer. So there's that, and inside that we're gonna bring in our home icon, which we got it from Material UI, and we're gonna increase the size of it to large. And in here we're gonna do is p home. So we are not seeing that in effect yet. So let's go to our home page. We haven't created a, let's go to a home page right here. We're gonna bring in our sidebar here. We are in the Explore right now, so I'll just bring it here. And for the home page, we are going to be doing is a little bit of a same grid as well we did on the navbar. So grid calls 1, md grid calls 4. This is because we want to have the same effect on the navbar as well. And exactly the same we have it on navbar because we want to have it consistent. So in here we are going to do is, for the first part, we're going to bring in our left sidebar. We have the left sidebar in, so you can see that hover over, it does that as well. And we're gonna add some padding in here. Let's say px of 6. Let's go to the navbar. I think we might have a typo. It should be s in here. So yeah, grid call 1, grid calls 4. So the home, we have the home going on right there. That's great. let's go back to our homepage left sidebar and continue with this. So after this, we're gonna create another one of this, and in this one we're gonna go to explore. We are going to be a tag icon in there, and then we're gonna call it explore. We have explore with the tag. We go here, it goes to explore. That's great. And after that, we're gonna do another one of that, and here we're gonna do is profile slash whatever the ID is, right? So we're gonna bring that in later on. And in here we're gonna do is person icon, and here we're gonna call it profile. So there we have it. We have the 3 menu icon, which is great. And after that, we're gonna create a logout down here. We're gonna have a logout. So we have the link closing in, we have the div closing in, that's the div. And then we're gonna have another div after that, which is, we're gonna call it a flex, and justify between is going to between this two. So we're gonna have another div in here. Let's call p username in there. We're going to change it a little bit, of course. Add a class as well, font of bold, and then add username. So we're gonna have that down there. This is what we're going to fetch from our server. So we're gonna do that once we connect the backend to the front end. But right now we're just gonna doing the UI for the front end. So after we are done with the UI, we're gonna start the connection process. That's when we're going to change this with the real result. So after that div, we're gonna create another div, and we create a link to, let's say, sign in. And the link, we're gonna have a button. Let's say log out, and we want to style that as well. So BG red 500, pixel 4, the padding Y of 2, text would be white, and rounded would be full. And we're gonna have an on click. When you click on that, it will log us out. And then it will take us to a sign-in page. So that's the gesture of our left-hand bar. Let's do the right-hand bar. Right-hand bar is basically static, so you might not need to do that, but just gonna do that. Keep a static right-hand bar. So right-hand sidebar is good to go. Let's bring that into our home page so we can see that. So let's go to our home page. So we have this. So next, we're gonna have the main page, MainTweet goes here, which we're gonna build in shortly. And then we're gonna have another called RightSideBar, which is great. We're gonna bring in the same kind of padding of X of 6. And then here we're gonna do the same thing we did on the navbar, which is call span of 2, border X is 2, border T slate 800, and padding X of 6. Oops, we have a mistake over here. So what is, oh, we didn't finish it. Yep. So that should be good. So we have the right sidebar, the main tweet goes here. So this where we're gonna do is we're gonna build an input where we can type in our tweet, and all our tweets going to fetch in here. And for the right hand bar, we're going to keep things a little static. So it's going to be pretty straightforward, nothing fancy. So we're gonna keep a class of padding of 6. Background will be slate of 100, rounded LG, MX4, and space y of 4 as well. And here we're gonna do is h2 as a trending, and here a class name of font medium. And then after that, we're gonna do is paragraph with a class name of font bold. And here we're gonna do is hashtag with vendor, hashtag apple pop. And after that, do the rain. And after that, we're gonna do is raven bar. So very simple static stuff here, and all the tailwind as well. So we have that in there. So what's trending? These are all trending right now. That's basically just it. So that's done, and then we're gonna do the main part, of course, where we do the tweets in here. So for the main tweet, we're gonna have a component as well. We're gonna call it the main tweet. Here we're gonna create a file called main tweet.csx. Create that main tweet and bring that into our home right here, which should be working, the main tweet. And in here we're gonna start building our small component where you are able to type in a tweet, and we'll be fetching some of our user tweet. So if a Harry Potter logged in, he is following Ron, Hermione, and their tweets gonna start loading up here. So that's the part we're gonna build over here. So first thing first is very simple div, of course. And in that, we are going to have some username. Let's say p username in here. Got some styling as well. Font of bold. Padding left of 2. Margin up and down of 1. And after that, we're gonna do is a form. We do a form. We don't need any action on that for now. So the form is going to have a text area, and that's basically what's going to have over here. We have a text area. We're going to style that, of course. So let's start styling that. So form is going to have some class styling of border b2, padding bottom of 6, and for the text area we're going to have some background slate of 200. The background color rounded will be LG. Width will be full, and padding would be 2. So that's what it looked like. It's not stretched yet, but we're gonna do that in a little bit. So that's out of the way. We are going to be doing is type of text, and then we're gonna do is placeholder what's happening. And the max length, Twitter have a max length, so we're gonna add that as well. Max length would be 280. Right now Twitter have that. We have that same number on the back end as well, so we're gonna have that on the front end handling too. So that's the tweet where we have that happening. Oh, so we made a mistake over here. It should be W instead of 2. So we have our full width. So we have this. We can like write tweet in here. So after that, we are going to be do is we're gonna have a button underneath that text area. So button, and here's a tweet, and we're gonna have some styling on that. Styling with BG blue of 500. Text would be white. Padding top and bottom would be 2. Padding X would be 4. Rounded would be full, and margin left would be auto. So that's our button, a tweet button. Once we click that, the user should be able to tweet whatever they want. And that's great. We're gonna have on click later on as well. And after that, we're going to do is we're gonna bring in our timeline tweet, where we're gonna have all our timeline in here. We're gonna fetch all the data in here for our user. So that's we're gonna do that a little bit later, because right now I want to focus on our UI first. So that's the thing, we're gonna do that after we finish the UI, because we have a lot of fetching on that. So let's start building other pages. So our home page is pretty much done. We just need to make this component here. So after the home page, we can do is we can start coding in a profile, which is a little bit similar to what we did. So we can start doing the profile page. So we'll go back to the profile, and in here we're gonna bring in the left-hand sidebar, the right-hand sidebar as well, and the same kind of classes. So grid call 1, and mid we're gonna have grid calls of 4, as expected, as we did on the navbar and the home page. So after that, we're gonna have a div of left sidebar. This is going to have some class of padding x of 6. So when we go to the profile /123, let's say we're gonna have that left-hand sidebar. So we have the left sidebar there. That's good. We're gonna have some right sidebar here as well, and then we're gonna do is let's do a div here, and after that we're gonna do another div, which is padding of 6, same thing. So for that, we're gonna do the right sidebar here. So we have left sidebar, right sidebar, and on the middle we are going to be expanding it. So call span of 2, border x of 2, border t of slate 800, and padding x of 6. So we have the borders on the sides and column span 2. That's out of the way. We are going to be doing some fetching here as well. Like if the profile exists, we are going to be grabbing some stuff here. So that's there. We're gonna do that in a little bit. Again, you saw the UI right now, so we want to avoid anything that requires some fetching of data, so we can like start working on it later. So that's that. So that's out of the way. Next we want to do is do the sign in and explore page. Let's do the explore, which is pretty similar. So here we're gonna do the same thing again. Last name of with calls 1. MD would be with calls 4. And here we gotta do is div x of 6, left sidebar, and then we're gonna have another one here. It will be the right sidebar. Here we're gonna have a span, border x again of 2, and we want to have some border color as well. The border color of slate 800, and pixel padding x is equal to be 6. So that is on the explore page. So let's go to the explore. We have that going on. That's great. And here we're gonna have a component called explore tweet. So let's do that. Explore. Let's create a component here. So this is going to be basically, let's explore tweet. So this is where we're gonna fetch the data from our user and find who he follows or who she follows, and then we also want to fetch data from all the other users who we are not following, so we can explore who is available on the site and we can follow new people in there. So that's the explore part. profile part is where we're gonna have a profile in there, profile in our own profile, so which is right here. This is not working properly because we need to implement that as well. But if you go to profile, this is the profile, and the home page is going to home page. So after that, we are almost done on the purposes. We can create the sign in page where we're going to sign in our user. So let's go to the sign in. Here we have the sign in. We haven't done anything in there yet. So here we're going to do is we're going to create a form. It's going to be a big giant form basically. And here we don't want an action in here. So class, we're gonna have class gray of 200, flex column, padding y of 12, padding x of 8, rounded large, the border radius there, and we're gonna have some 8 by 12 width. MD we're gonna have width of 6 by 12. MX would be auto, gap would be 10. So that's the sign in, sign out page. We're gonna have a form in here where people can type in their username and password and log in. So that's where we're gonna have that. And in the form, we're gonna do h2 of sign into Twitter. Gonna have a class of text 3xl, font bold, and text center. Class sign in. Oops. Let's go back. So that's there. And then we're gonna do is after that we're gonna have our input. So input of text. I have a placeholder username, and class would be text XL. Padding top and bottom of 2, rounded would be full, and px of 4. So we have a padding there. That's great. And after that, we're gonna do another input. This time it will be password. It will be password as well. Styling would remain the same. We have a password. We have a user. We have that. And then we're gonna have a button underneath. Let's say sign in. And in here, we're gonna have some styling as well. So text of Excel, padding Y and top and bottom, rounded full, padding X is 4, background blue 500, text would be white. So that's that. We have the sign in button there. Again, we are just doing the UI. We're gonna do on click on all of these later on change, and use state to kind of handle all the data. So that's coming in the next video, but in this we're gonna just do the UI for now. So the button is there, and next we're gonna do is don't have an account. If you don't have an account, we're gonna have a sign up underneath. So text center, text Excel. So if that's the case, we are just to copy paste one of the input in here basically. So we copy paste both the input. So we have our username and our password. And then we're gonna have an email as well. And here we're gonna do is email. So for the email on the back end, we did a required. So we're gonna do that in here as well. The required is true for the email. And that's pretty much it. So set username, and we're gonna have a password in here. And after that, we're gonna create a button, of course, with text Excel and padding Y of 2, rounded full, padding X of 4, background blue 500, and text would be white as well. And here we're gonna call it submit, type submit, And here we're gonna do is sign up. Once we have that, don't have an account, username, email, password, sign up and sign in. So that's just, I think, the sign in page. Basically, when we log out, we're also going to come into this page. So yeah, so let's go to home one more time and see if we, so if we go to sign out, we're going to be in that page as well there. So that's out of the way. Explore, we did that. We did the home, we did profile, we just sign in as well. So the page wise, we need to create an error handling page. Let's do the error handling. Basically, if we want to return a 404 error page, this is where this comes in. So we're gonna add some styling for that. Text center, margin y of 8, space y of 5, and here we're gonna do a h2 that says error page not found, and here we can do a class of font bold text for Excel. Like right now, if you go to profile, it says unhandled thrown error 404 not found. Hey developer, you can provide a way better UX than this when your app throws error by providing your own error element props to route. So this is what we are trying to do right now. Once we create that error, we're gonna create an error element. We're gonna pass this page to that error element to kind of handle that. So this message is coming from React router DOM. Since you couldn't find that, it throws a 404 error. So we're gonna implement that. So P, we're gonna have PB of 2. Here, please go back to login. We're gonna add a break as well. And in here, we're gonna do is link. It's coming from React router DOM. 2 would be sign in. And then we're gonna add some class name of say BG blue, because this is going to be a button. Padding y of 1, padding x of 3, rounded would be full, and text would be white. And it's going to say login. And then we're going to handle that on our app. So we go to our app. When we have this, remember we did a create browser router. We have a prop here called error element. And in here, we're going to pass in our error page that we just made. So it goes back right here. So once we couldn't find that route, that message goes away and is giving me this page that we made instead. So when we go to login, it goes to sign in Twitter. So we're going to the sign in once we hit that link. So that's good. I think we have all the UI in place. Next, we're going to create a couple more things for our UI. We're going to create, fetch some data. We are going to, when we go to our profile, like let's say profile, we want to have some profile handler UI placeholder here where we have our image, profile image with a username. That's component we're going to create. So in the next lecture, we're going to connect our front end with a backend. We have our front end UI in place pretty much. It's just we need to bring in our functionality. Like when we create this, we hit tweet, it should be tweeting and passing value to our database. Our database should be fetching those and displaying it over here. So we're going to do all those stuff using Axios. We're going to fetch some data and work with that. We are also going to be using Redux for our state management. So once a user log in, we're going to have them in our user Redux toolkit state. So we know what the user have, what kind of state, what kind of data they have, and we can put it in, put it in our browser. So when we go to a different route or refresh, it doesn't delete the user that's been logged in. So a little bit of those and finishing up the application in the next video. The link will be down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy building the UI. On the next lecture, we're gonna start bringing in all those backend and front end together. So see you on the next lecture.